Welcome in, everybody. We had to make up for some missed sexy sacks last night, but thank you for joining us for the PHNX Suns Podcast. I'm Lindsay. That's Espo. That's Flex. You guys, last night was Valentine's Day, but there was no love in the Footprint Center from the Detroit Pistons or the refs or the Phoenix Suns. Let's talk about it, but first, let's let it ride just a little bit so we can get our sexy, sexy sacks.
Espo, don't get up.
I can't in this room. It's too tiny.
He's in the closet.
And it's weird weird dancing in this little box too. You just not a lot of room. You got to keep it right here. You know,
just a little shoulder shimmy.
It's safer for you. It's safer for you, dog.
It is. Yeah, you are correct.
Oh my goodness, you guys! The drama that happened last night. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. We were at our takeover and we all got the Shams notification. And I won't lie, I had to look like 3 times to make sure I wasn't getting trolled by a fake Shams account, because it was all like, Drew Eubanks and Isaiah Stewart just got into a kerfuffle in the tunnel and Isaiah Stewart punched Drew Eubanks in the face. And I'm like, bro, what? Mm-hmm. What is this life we are living? What was y'all's initial reaction?
Crazy. I mean, I was shocked. I'm like, damn. But I mean, you know, unfortunately, things like this happen more often than people think, and just not to this level. But there's little things that happen in the tunnel before games. People will talk trash. But yeah, homie sucker punching the guy, that's a whole different level of things, right? And so, yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I was certain when we talked at the takeover, I went right to Espo, and I'm like, something had to have happened in that first game in Detroit, right?
What?
Yeah,
what though?
Yeah, I think it's between the lines. I think, you know, there was probably some things said between the lines that my man Isaiah Stewart just ain't going for, and he used that opportunity to do this, and that's not a good look for him. That's just not a good look for him.
I think it's something between the ears. I don't think it's between the lines. I mean, the whole thing is so bizarre, and I've heard of a lot of weird things going on. We've seen guys chase guys down tunnels, but we've never heard. I mean, I believe it was the Phoenix Police's statement said it happened right near the parking area in the arena, which means Eubanks probably was walking in, and Stewart either had just come in or walked off the bus. Obviously, speculation. I don't know exactly what it is, but no understanding level 0 there at the Footprint. What in the hell leads up to just getting there, going chest to chest and sucker punching a guy is beyond me. I mean, there's got to be something massively wrong for that to happen and play out that way. And that I just, at some point, we talked about it before. The league needs to look at the mental health of these guys and address if somebody needs help. How do you make sure they actually get it rather than giving some kind of half-ass suspension, take a vacation and come back kind of move? Because something has to be going on to have this happen, the Draymond stuff, all those things to lead to this. That's a question I think we're going to start hearing more of, or at least we should, is how do we prevent this, not just these kind of altercations, but help these guys in the mental space as well, because this is a grind. I get everybody's like, oh, they're athletes, they fly private, they stay in the nicest hotels. It is a grind. You are away from your support system a lot of times. You know, money at a young age can do weird things to people. How do we make sure that these guys get support that they need? Because it takes a lot for somebody to go off in that kind of way and have some of the Draymond things happen. Let's think about that as well.
Yeah. What do you think, Lance?
I mean, I think it's an onion. There's a lot of layers to this, both from the mental health kind of side of it, and then also from setting a precedent for just violence within the league in general, regardless of which place we're discussing it at. I know somebody in the chat said, Jan Paul Edwards said, make the game more physical. Like, you just need to figure out what that line is from a physicality perspective, and then why it's bleeding off the court at times as well. Like, you can't let somebody get away. Like, to go back to the Draymond thing, right? Behind the scenes violence at a practice. This is behind the scenes now too, but all of it becomes public. Like, there's just a lot of layers that need to probably be dissected here and discussed, and try to come up with some sort of a solution that helps all of this. But until then, we'll continue to talk about it as it unfolds, because it seemingly happens more and more often. The Suns did put out a statement last night shortly after the incident went public. They said, the attack on Drew Eubanks was unprovoked, and acts of violence such as this are unacceptable. We unequivocally support Drew and will continue to work with local law enforcement and the NBA. So that was put out pretty early by the Suns. I want to say less than like an hour and some change after this whole incident kind of popped off. Mike Curtis on Twitter also shared a kind of statement from Monty Williams. He asked Monty if there was anything he could share about the incident, and Monty said, I can't. I know there were some statements put out. The thing for me is to get all of the information and make sure I'm clear on what happened. The NBA will do an investigation. I've talked to Stewie. He shared with me what happened. Our people have talked to him and they have information. But for me to come here and make a statement, that would be a bit irresponsible. I know the Suns put out a statement and said it was unprovoked. I think that is irresponsible for them to do that when, they don't really know, because two sides are giving their story. I think until you find out everything, you can't make these statements. I heard about that and I just thought that did not need to happen. I think there is a time for information to be gathered, and then you can make a statement. For me, it's let's get all the information. The league will do its due diligence and it'll come up with something. It's just one of those situations that we just have to wait and see.
Oh, man complains about former employer who fired him is what I heard in that. Look, the Suns watched that video. The Suns, before they put out any statement, knew what they were doing, because legally they don't put that out unless they're comfortable with it. And who had access to the tape most easily? The Suns, because it was in their arena. There's cameras all over the place on level 0. They watched that before then, and they cleared it with their lawyers. There must be irrefutable evidence that it was unprovoked for them to put that out, because you open yourself up to potential liable things, all sorts of stuff, by putting out a statement like that without doing due diligence between when the incident happened and when you release the statement. So.
Well, and Shams, even in his initial tweet, said the video would be delivered to the NBA for them to review. So if Shams is tweeting that out, and when we first all heard about it, the Suns have already seen that video.
Yeah.
Multiple times. You know what I mean? And it's been circulated between all the head brass and everyone who needs to see it. And then the statement came out an hour and some change later. So it had been a fair amount of time between the initial incident happening and when the statement came out. I would think they would have had enough time to review the footage, talk with the league in at least a general sense of it, and talk with Drew Eubanks and maybe some people over in Detroit's camp. But I don't think it's irresponsible to put out that statement. And I also think that you do have to support your guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame Monty for wanting to support Isaiah Stewart, because that's his guy. But the Suns also have to do the same thing for Drew Eubanks.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the Suns put out the statement because they got the video evidence and it was clear as day, and they felt comfortable saying what they said. I do agree with Monty. I think that there is a time where you have to see the entire picture and get both sides of the story. So he's defending his guy, and he wants the whole thing to come out. I mean, again, we don't know what really happened. Like we just know that this guy got sucker punched.
Yeah. All I will say is that we do know, just like Dagoon in the chat brings up, the cops arrested one and didn't the other. Right. They saw what happened. So Mark McClune posted after the game, breaking news from AZ family. Phoenix police arrested Isaiah Stewart for assaulting Drew Eubanks. Stewart was issued a citation and released. The investigation remains active. So clearly there is some information for people who are above our pay grade to be able to make an arrest and issue a citation. Now, whether it goes anywhere else from there remains to be seen. But to me, if I'm reading the tea leaves and between the lines, Isaiah Stewart was in the wrong here.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, he was arrested. He committed potentially felony assault. When you punch somebody, you can have a disagreement at work. You can have a disagreement in your house. You can have a disagreement at a party with friends. You can have verbal disagreements. But when it gets to the point where you just say, okay, bang, I'm just going to punch you in the face, that's a whole different level of thing. And so I think what Monty's probably leaning towards, well, we don't know what was said. Did Eubanks say something? Because the camera picks up action, but we don't know if the camera could pick up verbally. That's probably where he's leaning. If I had to guess, he's leaning towards Isaiah Stewart said, hey, he said something to me that crossed the line and I punched him in the face. That's probably where this is going. But that doesn't mean that it's right. Yeah, I'm just saying that that's probably where Monty is going.
Yeah, but even from that perspective, and again, I understand Monty has to have his guys back to an extent here, right? But regardless of what Drew Eubanks said, the act of violence is the problem. The words, a problem in and of themselves, but again, levels.
I mean, my problem with Monty's statement is saying the Suns were irresponsible with it.
I don't like that.
Back your guy, support your guy, say, we'll wait till the evidence. I mean, that's all boilerplate stuff that you got to say in that kind of situation. But saying it was irresponsible for the Suns to make that statement is where I think it crosses the line. I've sat in that room. I've sat with PR people and communications people in that building on how do we address this? What do we say? What can't we say? How do we say it? I mean, there was the Morai situation. I was in there when they crafted that statement, and stuff that went down with Michael Beasley. I've seen how it operates. You don't just put that out there half-cocked. They knew what they were doing there. And then to he may have said something. I got a 7-year-old. That you talk about that stuff in elementary school, how you handle verbal conflict. And what do you say? You don't punch the other person in the face. Like that's not what you do. So, I mean, even if that is the defense of Isaiah Stewart, that shows a problem and a pattern with Isaiah Stewart's behavior in and of itself,
Yeah. So we also got a little bit of clarity on the situation, a little bit from Drew Eubanks himself. So Gerald, after all of us learning about the incident, went into the locker room during the availability time pregame and spoke with Drew. And Drew said, basically, we were walking in, words were said, and then got face to face and he sucker punched me. Then security got in the way. Now, Gerald did tell us that it's unclear what words were exchanged to escalate the situation. And Eubanks said that he didn't have any prior beef with Stewart in the past, just the basketball side of things, stuff that goes down on the court. But then Drew Eubanks also added in, because he was asked if he is okay from the punch. He said, nah, I'm straight, soft punch, which, let's say you can feel whatever way you want about it, but soft punch has become a life of its own on social media at this point. It's probably going to be a little bit of a tagline that'll stick with the Suns for at least the rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to handle it like a man. Drew's, all indications is he took the punch. He didn't even flinch. He ate it. They're going to ask him if he wants to file criminal charges. He's probably going to say no. NBA is going to fine and suspend Isaiah Stewart. And Eubanks is going to come out looking like a champ, because the players don't want you filing these type of charges. If you do that, then you're like, oh, you're not really about it, or you're the outsider. That's how it is. That's how it is. KD hinted at it, we're a brotherhood. This shouldn't be happening. No one should be punching anybody. But ultimately, this is just going to be one of them things where I think the NBA suspends him and fines him. Drew's going to look like a champ. He ate that punch. That's a big boy too. So, I mean, Isaiah's a big boy. If Drew ate that punch, I'm impressed, man. He should get into boxing.
Yeah, I had actually heard Isaiah had done some professional fighting or amateur
Look at that
fighting too. So it sounds like a guy who knows how to throw a punch too, which makes it a little more impressive what Drew was able to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, guys. KD made it very clear. And this is what second. This is right off the Draymond punching pull in practice. Like that was recent, and now you do this. It's just you got to understand. It is a brotherhood. You all come and play the same sport. You all make money. You all take care of your family. You go out there, when you get out in there between the lines, you compete. No one's trying to hurt nobody. No one's trying to, jeopardize someone's career. You punch a guy like that Draymond punch. I mean, I'm telling y'all, that video was bad. I mean,
that also felt like a sucker punch to me.
That was a sucker punch. And when I saw the video, a part of me is like, damn, like who was the guy that hit Tom Janovich, Espo?
It was Kermit Washington.
Kermit Washington.
Broke his spine.
He actually had bleeding from his brain and ended his career. So yeah, this ain't cool, man. Like you gotta chill. But the NBA gotta do a better job of getting these guys under control, and whatever issues they're dealing with, man, they gotta get help for it.
Yeah. So we do have. Go ahead, Espo.
I was just gonna say, I guarantee we see that video sometime early next week. I would bet. The league does everything in their power to make sure it doesn't come out during All-Star weekend, but I bet we probably see it Monday from like a TMZ Sports, and we'll all see exactly what the footage shows. I'm almost willing to guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain on that. But in the meantime, Shams did give us a little bit of insight as to what he's hearing that the video does show.
So last night, Isaiah Stewart was arrested for assault. He was released. They gave the police. Phoenix police gave him a citation. The NBA itself has also launched an official review of the incident, and they've gotten security footage. And that multiple people with direct knowledge of the situation told me that this is what took place. This is what that footage will show. Isaiah Stewart, Drew Eubanks were in the back hallways pregame, exchanged some words, and it really stemmed from their last game against each other in Detroit, November 5th. They were chest to chest. Isaiah Stewart dropped his bags and punched Drew Eubanks in the face amid their exchanging of words and them coming chest to chest. I'm told Drew Eubanks was punched in the mouth area, and from what I'm told, the footage will show Drew Eubanks barely flinched. He stood there stone cold, took the punch, obviously, and police security got involved, separated them, and police had Isaiah Stewart escorted out of the arena. So this is really in the hands of local law enforcement, their investigation, which is active, as well as the league's investigation that's going to, now take place over the coming days and weeks.
So I think it's safe to say, Espo, like you guys were saying, Drew kind of just took one on the chin and moved right along with his life. And like you said, we'll probably eventually get to see this video as a group, and then we'll probably talk about it one more time when that happens. But Flex, you also brought up what KD was talking about after the game in terms of this incident. Here's what he had to say for all of us to hear.
Yeah, keep the game first. I mean, it's a lot of noise around our game. There's a lot of shit that comes with being an NBA player. You keep the main thing, and all of that stuff will fade away. It's unfortunate what happened before the game. It's supposed to be a brotherhood. But also understand dudes get into stuff, and stuff may happen, but we try to avoid that in this league, but shit happens, and hopefully we can move on from it. And we all support Drew. I got Drew's back, and he'll move past it.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like even some of the guys around the league are a little bit surprised by all of the excessive frustration and trash talking and how it's gotten to an escalated level. Because like Katie said, it's a brotherhood. Like we shouldn't be having this level of tension and beef within our sport.
No, No. And it's been like this goes back to like street ball. This goes back to when these kids were kids playing street ball in local gyms. You know, a lot of times these guys are surrounded in bad neighborhoods. And when you go into play basketball in the inner city, you know, as soon as you step in between them lines, this is about basketball. And you're taught that from a very young age. And so at this point, when you get to the professional level, you should be beyond that stuff. It happens at a lower level, you know, more often than people think. But yeah, at a pro level, you gotta chill with that stuff. So no, it's never cool. And I mean, I'm interested to see what the league's gonna do. I'm sure there'll be a suspension. I'm sure there'll be a fine. But at some point, piggybacking off the Draymond thing, at some point, I think there needs to be, like, I'll give you all an example. When the fight happened with Phoenix and the Knicks back in the day in 92, 93, and both benches cleared, and Greg Anthony came and sucker punched KJ in street clothes and cut his eye open. That was the beginning of the new era of basketball, where they implemented, if you move an inch off the bench, you are suspended and you're going to. So something like this needs to happen. Like, it's like, yo, if you have any type of physical confrontation like that, where charges are brought or anything like that, it's got to be significant. It's got to be significant enough where these guys are like, okay, yeah, because Isaiah just signed a $68 million contract. Like, I'm just throwing that out there. He just signed a $68 million contract. And so, you know, if you suspend him for a significant amount of time and you hurt that wallet, I just don't feel like $100,000 and $50,000 is bothering the guy when you sign 60, 70, $80 million deals. So that's what I'm saying. Be real about it. Really hit them, and then that should have stopped.
Yeah. I mean, if they want to take it serious, I'm not convinced that they want to take it seriously, because you look at the Draymond punishment, it's like, oh, out indefinitely. And then it's like, oh, he's better now, he can come back. Like, I'm not convinced that they care to do what it would take to actually stop some of these incidences. And that's going to be what it comes down to. The best part of this, though, the only positive that comes out of it is we get two nicknames: Stone Cold Drew Eubanks and Soft Punch Stewart. Like, it's so I love that we have two great nicknames to come out of this, you know, and Drew Eubanks will forever be Stone Cold in my mind after that.
Yeah, definitely. The last thing about this before we move on to the next topic is a super chat from Frank. And Frank said, "That brother needs help, Drew." All right, guys, listen, there are no games in this weekend. We've got the All-Star festivities happening, though. But if you're looking to get out and have an adventure in Arizona, the Arizona Lottery is the place to go for you guys, because they have introduced a new ticket and promotion called Arizona Adventures. There's 3 different ways to play and win big. So first, you can play Arizona Adventure lottery tickets featuring 3 iconic landscapes: Picacho Peak, Monument Valley, and Camelback Mountain. And these tickets have prizes up to $50,000. You can also check in at geolocated adventures at 10 destinations across the state, from Flagstaff to Yuma, or you can enter tickets online for a chance to win $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes. So the Arizona Lottery is not just about playing games and winning prizes. It's also about giving back to the state and its communities. Visit azadventure.com for more information on how you can take an adventure for a chance to win $1 million in cash and Arizona travel prizes. This sounds like a fun one.
Yeah, it does. I can't wait to get out there and hike.
Like a game within a game.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Flex, you ever watch pro wrestling back in the day?
Yeah, I used to watch all the time.
You remember the original Stone Cold, Mr. Steve Austin?
Mr. Steve Austin, yes, I do.
What did he used to do in the ring sometimes?
He used to smash that beer.
Boom! That's right. And we got our friends over at Mick Ultra. You don't smash this in the sense of smashing 2 cans together. You smash it by getting to drink it, all right? 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. If you drink this bad boy, you smash one of these, you're not hurting your diet. You're not hurting that figure. No, you're looking good And you can take one on the chin like a champ, all right? So check out our friends over at Michelob Ultra. They are spectacular. Head over to michelobultra.com to find how you can win superior NBA prizes and to find a Michelob near you. It's only worth it if you enjoy it and enjoy responsibly, even if you're going to take a punch in the chin.
Can you do the Stone Cold right now? Can you pour it on your face and get all crazy with it?
No, I can do Stone Cold said so. I
love it.
There you go.
I love it. That's perfect.
All right, guys. The drama did not end there. It trickled over into the game, but the drama that we're going to talk about next is between Devin Booker and NBA officials. So much drama. So like barely 5 minutes into the game last night, Devin Booker got tossed, okay? Everybody in the entire arena erupted in refs you suck chants, which they absolutely deserved last night because, for one, again, like we've talked about this so many times, people pay good money to go to NBA games to watch superstars play basketball. They don't go to watch NBA referees be all up in their feelings. And last night's game is one of the more egregious ones, in my opinion, because it was one of probably the more affordable games of the season because of who we were playing, right? Yep. So I'm just going to get that out of the way, that's super annoying, and I hate that. But what makes it even worse is that we got the poll report from Kellen Olson. He was a poll reporter last night, and he asked the officials, why was Devin Booker assessed his first technical foul? And they said, for continual complaining, and after he'd been warned, he continued to complain again towards a game official. And then the second question again is, so the second technical foul that got him ejected, was that just a continuance again for the second? And they said, no, the second technical foul was for disparaging remarks he made towards a game official, and then he was ejected for the second one. And I'm just like, what could Devin have said? Unless it was like literal threats of violence or something of that sort, there's nothing in my book that warrants, if you're just talking out of frustration, throwing a few F-bombs in here and there, that doesn't warrant being tossed, in my opinion. Because again, it's not about the officials and their feelings. It's about the fans who paid good money to watch superstars play this basketball game, and now they don't get to see that.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not, I know what Devin said, and he shouldn't have gotten kicked out. He shouldn't have gotten kicked out. Listen, it's stuff that people say all the time in basketball games. And if you're going to kick Devin out for apparently what he said, a guy like Draymond Green should get kicked out 82 games a year, because all he does is say shit like that for the entire time he's playing. So I think it was terrible. It was foolish. I think that NBA referees need to be held accountable when they do things like this. That was egregious. It bothers the hell out of me, because I was that kid that would go to one NBA game a year when I was, my family had the money to take me. And especially, for instance, I lived in New Jersey. I was a Suns fan. They only came to town one time a year. And so if I went to a Suns game and my brothers and sisters paid money to get me in the building, and my favorite player, Devin Booker or Charles Barkley at the time, got kicked out in 5 minutes, that's devastating, especially for some kids that may never go back. I know kids that have went to one basketball game their whole life. So that pisses me off to no end. And the refs got to be better. And it's one of those moments where you're like, you feel cheated. Like you as a family, as a kid, as an organization, you feel cheated. And yeah, that was terrible.
Well, there was even a kid there at the game who had a sign that said, I came all the way from Spain.
Oh, my God. You just broke my heart. I didn't even see that.
That's that kid who now gets to go home, whose family probably saved up a boatload of money to be able to come to Phoenix across the world to watch these games and watch Devin play, and didn't get to have that.
I didn't see that, but that breaks my heart.
All because some officials wanted to get all up in their feelings and have a I'm in power here moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we met a couple fans and their son who came down from the Northwest to see the game. I had somebody tell me they were sitting near a kid and his parent who came from England. Like, I'm sorry, but the NBA deserves a refund to anybody that was in that arena last night and had to watch Devin Booker, one of the biggest stars in the game, arguably a top 10 guy in the league, a guy that's going to be playing an All-Star Sunday, get thrown out that fast for continually complaining. If that were the standard, Luka wouldn't play a game. He'd have to go back to Europe to play.
No star would play any game.
Thank you.
Like, I'm sorry. And then it's just ridiculous that we've gotten to a point where a bunch of guys and women who wear a gray shirt with a number on the back, no name, wind up interjecting themselves so damn much into these games that it actually impacts the enjoyment. It impacts the results. It is immensely ridiculous that they're taking over the spotlight because they have thin skin. I stand by. There should be 5 words, 5 or 6 words that are on a list that if those are said, you get tossed, and that everybody
share that. You share that with the players. You share that with the organization, so everyone knows exactly what the line is. Yep. Because the line moving night to night based on someone's emotional state is BS.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, I spoke with someone yesterday that was close enough to hear what Devin said. And again, I'm not going to get into it, but I can assure you it was nothing that you don't hear constantly in a basketball game. There was nothing egregious. It was just, typical. Yeah, that's a bad call. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those type of things. And that ref got too sensitive. And you make a great point, Espo. Those fans should be refunded. They should. And I think a portion of that refund should come from that ref's pocketbook, his wallet. I said pocketbook, but it can go either way, right? But yeah, you get what I mean? Like, it should come from them. Like, at what point are we going to hold these dudes accountable? They have control of the entire game. Like, even the foul situation, like, it's getting to a point where there's no accountability. And this is why there are people that believe in conspiracy theories around referees in the NBA, because you look at stuff like this and immediately I was hearing people chirping, what ref bet on this game tonight? What bet, what ref had Devin on the under tonight? Because 5 minutes into a basketball game, that's egregious, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The problem too is you bring up the betting. And I apologize, Lindsay.
Yeah,
you bring up,
that's a big deal, Espo.
And now that the leagues are in bed with the sports books, which I have no problem with leagues taking that money, but now it opens up a whole world of other questions that you have to actually answer. You have to address head on. And if your refs are putting themselves so much into games that people are questioning it, that is a problem. And I don't care, a missed call, a bad call that happens every once in a while will happen because these are humans. But we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years, it get progressively worse. The late whistle, all these things that are happening. I mean, we saw the Knicks game. They admitted right after the game that it was not a foul, that it should not have been free throws, that the Knicks should have won a game. Like, this is problematic to a point where it could cause major issues because of legalized sports gambling as well. And it's nothing to do with the sports books. They have nothing to do with it. It's a league problem. And for a league that's as progressive as the NBA, Adam Silver needs to deal with this and just say, you know what? We're not happy with where this is at. And we are going to fix this and figure out a way to go directly at the refs where it hurts. You miss a call in that last 2 minute report, you're going to lose money. You have an egregious suspension or ejection that the league determines, you are going to lose money or get suspended. There needs to be a path to punishing, a punitive path to punish these refs for it to actually make sense to them, because it doesn't right now. It's pretty obvious.
You know what else is the most egregious part of this in my book? From everything I'm hearing and everything I understand, this game that Book got ejected last night from counts as a missed game for him when it comes to NBA awards at the end of the season. So Book has now officially missed 11 games this season. And that's unacceptable, because it's not. Now, listen, if Book had done something that we all feel warranted getting ejected, like hitting a player or something of that sort, I understand that. But based off of the pool report and everything we've heard, I don't think this warranted an ejection. So now he also loses that. And that is the worst part of this whole situation. And it makes me wonder if the league comes out and maybe tweaks the rule because I don't know if this has happened yet in another in any other game. I know some stars have been ejected throughout the season, but I wonder if the league looks into, okay, maybe ejection shouldn't count depending on what the ejection was for, or how they go about figuring that situation out, because that should definitely not count against Book.
No, and there's a magnitude of things, Lynch. It counts against the awards, games missed. It counts against your averages. Like, and your averages are how you get those awards. And so he played 5 minutes. Thank God he scored 7 points, because if he would have scored 0 points, it would have made all his averages dip. And so there's so many layers to this. It's a terrible look. They need to be held accountable. And until they're held accountable, this isn't going to change. There was plenty of people talking about how some referee, like, good point. I think Eric just put some ejection shouldn't come from one ref. Never.
I agree.
Never. You should never have one ref. One ref shouldn't be able to kick a guy out. It has to be multiple referees or vice versa. But yeah, it's terrible. And I would hate for Book to miss out on the award. And we look back at something like this and it's like, oh, he missed one more game. And yeah, that's I wonder if they can appeal that. I wonder if that's one of those things where a player can actually appeal whether he's, whether the game is taken away from him or not. I got to find that out, but it's terrible across the board.
I think that they can challenge it.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Why? What I don't understand is, okay, so the game doesn't count towards the award, right? But you're going to count those stats towards his average.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
why would you count those stats towards the average if in the minds of the NBA and the voters that he no longer gets credit for that game? That's crap.
Correct.
Because it's unintended consequences. They didn't think through all of this.
Yep.
They didn't think through how setting this limit, which I still am in support of a limit of some sort. The number that it's at right now, I don't think works. But they didn't really think through all of the other things that it would open the door for, like that one, Espo, where if the game doesn't count, then the averages shouldn't count against him either.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I didn't play a game. You're telling me I didn't play a game. That's what you're telling me. I physically didn't play a game, so my stats shouldn't count. And Linz, I'm going to ask you this because I think we talked about this at the previous show. There is a guideline about how many minutes you have to play.
It's 20.
20. So are they saying it doesn't count because he was below 20 minutes? Or are they saying it doesn't count because of the 2 ejections?
Because it was below 20 minutes. So that's why it doesn't count, because they're trying. So they put that 20-minute threshold because they're trying to avoid like the Mikal Bridges thing where you just check in, you play a possession, you play 3-4 minutes, you check out.
Got it.
I'm sorry. And
even that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
If you're ejected, I'm sorry, that game counts. It's not like you're just like if I get injured in a game, that game should count because I played in it and I couldn't do anything about getting injured, right? But it's ridiculous that I get. Don't just check him in and then sit him on the bench to try to circumvent the rule, right? That's fine, but and try to break the spirit of the rule, but getting ejected is not the same thing as that.
No,
it's dumb.
The whole thing sucks. But here's what Frank Vogel had to say about the ejection. Maybe not.
Yeah, they just said they asked him to stop whatever his complaint was, and he didn't stop, so they teed him up. And then he said something else to the other official and he ran him out. Just freaking ridiculous. Total BS. To take a star player out of the game. I've seen worse than what he did on a nightly basis. I've seen it before. I see it every night. So unprecedented. Those are good officials that were on the game tonight, but that was certainly uncalled for and BS.
I'm laughing because he checked his fine. He made sure he said what he said, and then he said, "But they're good officials. Right? They did a good job tonight because he don't want to get that fine." But he said exactly what we said, right? You hear that all the time.
We're seeing more and more of it from across the league. I mean, did you guys see Ty Lue last night?
Yes.
In the hallway, screaming like they cheating over here, something like that. He's gonna get fined for that for sure. But I mean, that's the worst part. Is I feel like I don't know that I've ever seen this many people collectively in organizations and outside, like fan bases, talk about officiating to this extent this year.
I agree. It's
rough.
out of control.
Yeah.
It's out of control, and it needs to be something needs to happen because it's costing people games. Like had the Suns lost last night, thank God they won. But
Mhm.
had they lost last night,
It would have been
with
even
how
worse.
yeah, and with how close the Western Conference is, like you look at that Knick game the other day, you know, the Knicks are fighting for positioning in the East. When it starts costing real, yeah, it's just a bad look. It's not good for basketball, and they need to find a way to figure this out.
Yeah. I like this. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they've had coaches lose their mind. I mean, Mike Brown, the coach in Toronto, like this has gone beyond the normal, right? When these coaches are going, you know what? Fine, I'm gonna spend some money because Frank knew the second he said it was total BS. I see guys do others. He knew he was getting fined.
Yeah.
He walked that line at the end because he didn't want it to escalate to 25, 50,000. Like
It's a smaller fine.
Yeah, but he knew he was getting fined. And when coaches are like, you know what? I'm all right with losing money because this is such crap. There's just a fundamental problem right now.
Yeah. Okay, we have two super chats about this. Isla sent us one and they said refs should be subbed out for a full quarter after they issue a text so they can cool off. Also, players should never be ejected for verbal stuff. Again, I think I agree pretty much on that statement from the verbal side of things. Unless literal threats are being thrown out, I don't think that they should be ejected just for having expressing frustration through words about a situation on the court. But I love this idea about them being subbed out for a minute to allow them to cool off, because that I think is one of the issues here is it starts to build and build, and then the refs want to assert their dominance. And that's an issue. That's a major issue. And then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to move on.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right. True Detective sent us one and they said, do you know how the rule works for, say, role players because they don't usually play 20 minutes? So what's their threshold if they get ejected? I would say most role players aren't up for NBA awards.
Correct.
So it doesn't really affect them in the way that it would affect stars in the league.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, they would be held to the same standards basically if they were talking about awards though, but because usually we don't see that happen, I don't think it really affects them in the same way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, while we're talking about Devin Booker, he also got to see his former coach, Monty Williams. He made his return to the Valley last night. We'll give Monty a moment here on the program because he said some really nice things about Devin Booker.
Any coach would want to be a part of, you want to be a part of winning. You want to be a part of a great team. And if you have a chance to be around a special player, that's like the icing on the cake. When I got here, he was ready for whatever step that was going to be, and I had no idea what it would be like. I think the moment for me when I realized how different he was in the bubble, and he hit that shot against the Clippers because I didn't even call the play for him, and he didn't get upset or anything like that. He just was like, okay, coach, because I just thought they were going to take him out, and I ran a back door for Mikal, and it didn't work out. Book got the ball, and that was it. And I remember, doing whatever dance I did on the side, and I just thought to myself, this dude he's different, and I got to get out of his way more. That was some of the thought process that I was going through. And then you just saw it, and now he's got his own shoe, and he's become this, I watch it from afar, and I'm like, that was a pretty cool time in my life, and you think it was 10, 12 years. It was only 4 years. You know what I'm saying? He just did a lot in 4 years, and his dad and his mom and his family, I know they're proud of him, and he's got a ways to go, and he works his tail off, and I watch him. I watch his mannerisms now. I watch him, lose it every once in a while, and he doesn't have me over there to tell him, cut it out. Because from time to time he'd look over at me to see if I was going to say something, and I'd be like, stop, and, you miss that. Right. But at the same time, I didn't want to get in the way of it because when you're around greatness, you got to let it do what it's going to do and just ride it out.
Breaking news.
Ready,
Monty
talking?
Williams
Go ahead.
says that Devin Booker got thrown out because he wasn't on the sideline to stop it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's literally what I was going to say.
That's-
Since we're
that's-
already talking about drama, can I create some drama? Like, was that low-key shade at Frank Vogel?
Kind of sounded that way to me. I mean, that's what. Hey, if it walk like a duck and it quack like a duck, Lens, you know what we say.
Don't call it a
Yeah.
dinosaur.
That's right. Yeah,
I mean,
that felt like shade to me. Like,
felt
hey,
like
that
shade to
guy,
me.
that guy over there is not me. He don't know how to handle Devin. That's kind of crazy, but everything else was really cool. I didn't like that comment, but everything else was pretty cool. I liked how he talked about, knowing Book was that guy and he was different in the bubble. So shout out to Monty. I love Coach Monty, man. Good for him.
Can I pick one bone? Not
Go
about
ahead.
what he said. I appreciated it. I agree. During his tribute video, right? They run it. He notices he's on the big screen. He does not even give the customary just little hand wave, right? They're not coaching. He's not in a huddle. It literally is before the game, and he's just kind of standing there with the clipboard, walking around a little bit. Give the fans who applauded you. There were no boos. Everything was copacetic. Give them a little wave and acknowledge that they're acknowledging you. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I agree.
I agree. I don't know. It's just a lot of weirdness within that one there. But I thought that was interesting. Also, I love that Frank is not afraid to get attacked for his guys. I'm just throwing that out there. If we're throwing shade around, let me throw that piece of shade.
That's what Frank should have replied with.
He did.
Yeah, I know.
He did. Did you see him on the court after Book? He went out there and he showed, hey, Monty, this is how you defend your player. You don't have to wait for the tape. You can go out there and show your frustration.
That's exactly what he did. Yeah.
No doubt. Listen, shout out to Monty for all he did for the organization, for putting in the hard work here with the Suns. But I'm sorry, he's no longer in our inner circle. That's reserved for Frank Vogel now. We just got to move on. But if you guys want to get in on the action with Circle K's inner circle, all you got to do is download the Circle K app today and sign up for free. It's a free membership program. You save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You get every 6 free on a selection of Circle K products. They're always sending out coupons and discounts and really cool things in the app as well. So again, join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for all the details.
Hey, Flex, would you say Devin Booker has more or less money in his bank account than you?
More.
All right. Would you say that the temperature in Phoenix is more or less than it is in New York in the summer?
Oh, more. Way more.
Did you make any money by getting those 2 answers right?
No, I didn't.
You know where you can get money for choosing more or less and getting it right? Our friends over at Prize Picks. And I can tell you personally that this works because I made $50 the other night.
You did.
Just by picking more or less on 3 guys in the Suns game. And I won some moolah. I got benefited by Bradley Beal playing a few minutes, and I had chosen less than 7 assists. So bing, bang, good win for me on that one, all right? Nice. I don't know what bing, bang was, but all right. It's an how I do catchphrase when I do Prize Pick. So it's real easy. You go in there, and you pick 2 to 6 guys in any game. You can mix and match in it, and it's not just NBA. They got NFL, they got MLB. It's a lot of fun. So you go in there, pick 2 to 6 guys. Your multiplier depends on how many you pick. You choose what you're going to put in there, and then you can take out some sweet cash in there. It's simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in 60 seconds or less. And I'm not lying. I did it. I did it for the first time. When I did it the other day, it was that easy, and I withdrew my money super quick because you know what, I'm a broke boy and I needed some cash on the quick, and they did it
for Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, oh, sure, we'll go with that, sweetie. I spent that money on your Valentine's Day gift. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. So go to prizepicks.com/PHNX and use the promo code PHNX, and you're going to get a deposit match up to $100 that first time you put some scratch in there. And that is a fantastic deal. Daily fantasy sports made easy, so easy, even Espo can do it.
Hey-oh, there you go. All right, guys. Next up, we did get an announcement that is completely drama-free. This is the only segment in the show that doesn't have drama yet, anyway, unless we create some. And that is that the Phoenix Suns are finally getting their G League team, you guys. I know this was something that Matt Ishby had talked about when he first took over the organization. He said bringing a G League team to Phoenix was one of my first priorities as an owner. And now we officially know that the fall of 2024 is when we will get this G League team. They'll debut the 2024-2025 season. Espo, I know, Flex, you weren't around the last time we did this exercise where we were picking names of what we think the G League team should be named. Espo, I'm still team Suns Junior, and I want the logo of a big sunburst holding the hand of a little sunburst. And I still want them to play at the YMCA or LA Fitness, one of the two. But have you changed your mind at all, Espo? Or are you still set on your Firebirds?
I couldn't plan this, but Firebirds, all right? I love you put a basketball instead of a baseball there. You got a sweet logo. It plays up the Phoenix moniker. I still love that. I thought about it the other day, and you could just call them the Valley. So you're coming to play the Valley. No city name, none of that, just the Valley. You get away with. But one I really like. I'd love to find a way to honor Al McCoy for all he did and everything that he was to fans, and just call him the Shazam, the Phoenix Shazam. All right. Just a nice nod to the history of it, do it in Western font. And you got something there that honors the fan base and you're going to sell a lot of merch, I think. So
normally I'm against anything that has like meaning and sentiment behind it for these things, because it's like, have a little fun, like just do something random. But when it comes to Al, I guess that's why I'll give you the nod on that one. But if they don't go that route, I still think it should just be something so outrageous and ridiculous. Like, I just want something fun. Like, I don't want it to be connected to the Suns necessarily. Even I'll throw Suns Junior out to the street. You know what I mean? Like, just something silly.
I like connecting it to the Suns. I like your thinking, Lens. I mean,
I don't want it to be connected. Espo wants it to be connected.
Hold on. You want
you said
Suns Junior. That's connected.
Yeah, and I'm saying
that's connected.
I know, but I'm saying I'm willing to throw that out and just go take a hard left turn somewhere else.
Okay.
Like, I don't love giving Saul his flowers on this program, but the Arco Santi aliens, like if we just called them the aliens, like that would be hilarious.
Okay.
How about the librarians?
Nobody else?
We got book. We've got a book here, and how about a library?
Okay, that's crazy. See, that's good. That's a good blend of it actually connects, but it's still ridiculous, and I'm on board with that.
I mean, can you call them the sun rays? Can you call them sunburn? Something like I'm just saying. I'm just thinking of stuff that I've been on here 6 months. All I know is hot as hell, and there's a lot of sun, and you get sunburn, and them sun rays are. Yeah, they nasty. So I don't know, man. Let's keep it Suns related.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I mean, were you remember the NAZ Suns, the laziest, stupid moniker ever for a G League team?
Lame.
If they go anything like that route, I riot. All right, that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen, and it came from a very lazy approach. It was cheaper to just go with the same damn name than it was to try to come up with something interesting. And it's give me something creative. I'm glad they're doing the fan vote, which is how they named the Suns originally.
Yeah.
Was a fan vote. So I'm for it. There's some we've got Max and Rudy saying the Haboobs. I mean, at least it's unique. It's interesting. I don't want to see the logo, but it's interesting.
Yeah, Haboob. I mean, that's interesting. Hey, what do y'all call that in the background? That the silhouette color that's on the jersey behind you, Espo?
Like I have no clue.
A gradient? This
sunset?
thing?
Yeah, the Valley
like
jersey
or
like
ombre.
Those that little color scheme that's behind there. Don't y'all call that something when you see that? You look up and you see those colors. There's no name for that out here?
No.
That's just what our sunsets look like.
That's what a sunset. That's what it looks like. But y'all don't call it anything. I'm just asking in general because I would stick to something unique to the Valley, and that to me is unique. But yeah, whatever. Call them whatever the hell you want, as long as they're good at basketball.
How about Cheeks?
Yes, dude. Let's all get together and go vote Cheeks for like 100 million times on the open tab page where you can submit a name. And if we submit it enough, then maybe they'll actually consider it.
The Valley
I like the low riders. I like the low riders.
I'm not even going to entertain the Cheeks comment.
My bad. No, yeah.
We call it the low riders, but then the logo is low rider jeans with cheeks. There we go. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. That'd be hilarious. Lord have mercy. But it'll be fun stuff, and hopefully we'll get more information on it soon, what they're going to be called, where they're going to play. I joked about playing at the Y or LA Fitness, but honestly, like a GCU partnership could be pretty cool for the G League squad too, and try and create that environment that GCU has with their fan section there. I doubt the Madhouse on McDowell is an option because it's too much money to renovate that building to actually be safe for a team to play in there on a regular basis, I think. But we'll see. We'll see.
Look, I think Zach in the chat has an interesting call. Play it more. You got to find the key to a good G League environment and venue is smaller, right? Mm-hmm. Especially it's where the Coyotes play. It's ASU's hockey arena. Okay. The key to a good G League team and environment is that smaller venue because you're playing, especially here, you're playing in the same city as your NBA team. So you're not going to draw 10, 15,000. You're just not, right? So if you make it smaller, more intimate, unique, I like that. Like I've seen, I don't remember which, it may have been LA's, the Lakers G League team used to do it as 500 seats and they were at fancy tables and they did a unique thing. Very LA, right? But I love the idea of doing something smaller, but doing it well. All about the fans. Get the younger fans in there at a cheap price point so they can still enjoy the game if they can't get out to Suns games at the high ticket price. I really like that idea. And then Brian has the best name yet, the Mesa Rizpositos. I'm in.
Oh no!
Name them that.
Let's go.
I'm boycotting. All right.
As long as they play zone defense, I'm with it.
Lord have mercy.
No flex zone.
I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this name. Mackay sent us a super chat. I'm sorry for butchering your name, but I appreciate you sending us a super chat. And they said, I truly believe if Bol can carve out playoff minutes, he could actually be a main piece for a championship, like when the team needs a spark. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I listen, I'm loving Bobo. I'm on the roller coaster. The kid's got talent. He's got potential that is ridiculous. He's just got to be able to hone it in and consistently bring it. And he's been doing a good job of that. So yeah, I believe that the minute that kid steps on the court, the crowd and the reaction and the energy, there's not too many people on the team that can do that. And that matters in the playoffs. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think he's on to something.
Yeah. I think he can play those 7-10 minutes that KD might not be out there in playoffs as his backup, be serviceable. Had some nice defensive plays last night, hit a 3. You don't need a world beater. You need a guy to do enough to sustain a lead or help kind of close a gap when KD's not out there. And I think Bol can do that, but he needs to continue to show it over the next month or so before we just grandfather him in for some playoff minutes.
Of course, yeah.
Hey, Espo, can I submit some PTO real quick on the show for March 8th through the 10th?
No, because I'm not in charge of that, so you'll have to call somebody else.
Well, I just need you to approve it. You just bypass him. Say
sure,
yes.
Sure, Lindsay. You can take March 8th through the 10th off for some event that I know you're about to tease.
I am, because listen, I want to go out to Phoenix Raceway because This valley is going to roar to life this spring when NASCAR returns to Phoenix Raceway March 8th through the 10th. And I want to be there all 3 days. I don't want to have to pick and choose which days I go to because it's the best in class fan experience meets racing's toughest drivers for 3 days of action, all surrounded by the beautiful Estrella Mountains. Have you guys ever been? You guys have been out there. You came with us. I was actually like, it just the perfect day to go out there too, because it looked so beautiful at that raceway. Like I was so impressed with how gorgeous it was and how nice the facility was as well. But I'm telling you, I think whether you're a diehard racing fan or just looking for a really cool event to go spend a day at, that's where you want to be. And you can get your tickets to the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway, March 8th through the 10th. It promises a weekend of good vibes for the whole family. So pick up your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
I want to sit on that hill that they showed us. The hill? Yeah.
Yo, that place is fun. It's impressive. I do want to go out there for a race. I've been on a little bit of a NASCAR trip since we went there.
Okay.
I've been doing my research, figuring out their regular season, how the playoff works. Like I'm kind of getting locked in. And yo, chat, have y'all seen Gran Turismo? Anybody in the chat, if y'all seen Gran Turismo, let me know what y'all think. I love that movie. Tell Eric.
Are you serious, Flex? Are you serious, Flex, right now? Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
You guys,
Gran Turismo.
Flex is why that movie keeps moving up the streaming charts. He's just got it on loop.
You know, like royalty checks from them, dude. Like,
Espo knows how I work. I get checks, man. So they know. I got something cooking. Gran Turismo, great movie. And the chat, please tell me if y'all like that movie.
You guys, Flex has been trying to get us all to watch this movie for like a month straight. Like every day he brings it up.
Yes. Great movie.
Flex, can I pitch
Watch
one more
that
name?
movie and then go to the racetrack. Go ahead.
Can I pitch one more name for the G League team to you?
Yeah.
The High Heat. What do you think of the High Heat?
Yo, I like that. I like that because I was thinking Heat, but I'm wondering if you can't use the Heat because we have a Heat NBA team, but the High Heat.
Yeah. You know who could be the sponsor? OGs. OGs High Heat. Yeah. You like that?
I like that. That's creative, brother.
When I just need a little something, our friends over at OGs, give me that little something. Whether it's hot out or it's not, I enjoy myself. Some of their scratch-made gummies, they are the best in the valley. They're made here, which I find that important when I'm getting my gummies. I want an Arizona-made gummy, and they do it here. They got this great new one, the Big OGs. It's 100 milligrams. It's the size of a pillow. You don't take it all at once, though. Please don't. It's perforated into 10 milligram slices. That's the recommended dosage to go with. But check them out. They're fantastic. They have new vegan gummies, too. That's right. Vegan gummies. So if that's your thing, obviously you look at me. I'm not vegan. But if it's your thing, now you can enjoy some OG's gummies. So to learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head over to ogsbrands.com.
All right, guys, we are going to round out today's show with our last little bit of drama. This one comes from social media, of course. So we talked earlier in the week about the fact that Draymond went on his podcast and just threw so much shade at Jusuf Nurkic. Well, karma hit him real fast for that one. So last night, Draymond, during a game, he got hit. He fell to the ground and he laid there for what felt like 17 minutes, y'all. They literally went all the way back down the court. They came all the way back down and went right back. And Draymond was on the ground the entire time. And you know how I feel about that?
But dude laid out like he was dead. What an embarrassment. And they expect to win with that guy.
That's great. That's great.
Draymond, what are we doing, my guy? Come on.
Draymond,
you can't go on a podcast 2 days ago and say that and then do the exact same thing.
Draymond is straight tripping. He is straight. I think he on some OGs right now. He tripping, bro. Wow. Go ahead, Espo.
Did you watch that clip? If you look closely, the opponent doesn't hit him at all. He hits himself with his own hand and falls down like he broke his damn nose himself. It's just ridiculous. This guy is a complete and utter joke.
They should
Just
fine him
a
for that.
joke.
I looked at it. I think he should be fined for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
drop it.
Considering it flopping?
100%. Like, what are you doing, dog? That is like the epitome of flopping. Like, and he tried to sell it to the end of it. Man,
totally.
This guy's tripping, man. Yeah, he tripping.
I honestly, like, you couldn't, kudos to the NBA script writers, because you couldn't have written that better. You really could not have written that better. And of course, Nurk had to get in on the action. He quote tweeted the highlight from that game, or the clip of that game when that happened, and said, it's a gif of Oppenheimer, and on it says, "You're getting soft, brother."
I think Elizabeth makes a good point here too. His teammates did not pay any attention to it. Nobody tried to help him up. Nobody took a second look. They all know that this is crap. This guy is nuts.
The game continued.
Well, and his teammates were probably like, okay, great. Now we're down a body. We've got an extra guy to pick up on the other end, because Draymond's just going to lay there like a clown.
I just the Nurk is undefeated on the internet, right? Like that's just unbelievable. Way to come back at a guy. And look, if Draymond's gonna decide to get on a mic and say these things like he did, he's gotta understand that it's gonna come back and bite him.
Totally.
I mean, and that was, I mean, usually karma doesn't whip around that fast, but the NBA script writers, I don't know if they checked out for All-Star Weekend and then let their understudies do yesterday, but yesterday was a weird damn day in the NBA with Phoenix being the epicenter of that. But man, whoever wrote that, I'm pretty sure they got rejected from the Gran Turismo script. All right,
leave my movie alone, man. Come on, man. You know what I will say about this Draymond and Nurk thing is, after what we just saw between Isaiah Stewart and Eubanks, man, they better have extra security between these two guys when we play in either arena, because there's definitely something building up there. And I hope it doesn't go to that point. I hope they keep it between the lines. But this is kind of like this is what happens. It's a domino effect. This starts and then it finally there's that explosion. So I hope it doesn't happen from either player, because we don't want that. But yeah, I would have extra security next time we play Golden State, here or there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at that idea of that. They definitely all need to have a conversation with those two guys as well. Like, listen, we know you guys have beef and there's drama, but like, for the love of God, keep it under control.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a 7-game series with these two teams?
No, because one of them's going to get suspended.
Holy crap.
It's not going to happen.
That's what I was saying the other day. We brought it up the other day, and I think I pointed at Lens. I was like, if we get a playoff series, Suns and Warriors, my God, that is going to be primetime TV. Every game's going to be a whole life of itself. That would be absolutely insane. So I kind of don't want to get into that. If there's one team I don't, and it's not because I'm scared of the Warriors, I just don't like when the game evolves into like more psychological, because people come out of that differently. And they like Nurk, it was in his head a little bit. I went back and looked at the tape. He was trying to prove something that night. And so that's where you start losing the genuine basketball game. It just becomes a bunch of psychological stuff. So I'd hate the Suns to match up with that. And then with him throwing out Kevin's name too, you got to know that KD's feeling a certain way. So I don't want a part of that.
I want to bring this full circle. I want a shirt that has the silhouette of our two centers, and it has the Taylor Swift lyric, "I don't start shit, but I can tell you how it ends," because that's how our big men seem to be approaching this. You can take the first shot, I'll take the last. All right.
I like it.
Ted in the chat said that he likes Draymond as a villain and makes the games more fun. So 3 years ago, I was on board with you 100%. I liked the antics of Draymond 3 years ago and what he did back then, because it was mostly like tough basketball. It was trash talk. It added a little something to the game that I enjoyed as well. I think ever since the punch until now, it's gone too far and it doesn't make it as fun anymore. Like it's crossed a line of of exciting, fun shit talk on the court to just too much. Like you're just doing too much at this point.
I agree.
So I agree with you. Back in the day, I used to love it. I thought it was super fun and it added something to the game. But now I just think it's over the line and it's low key embarrassing.
I think Ted brings up an interesting point, and I like it because I'm a bit of a history buff. But he says, look at history. Empires in decline start fights.
That's true.
When you know that you're the wounded animal, you start fights because that's a way to try to assert your dominance when you don't even have it. So
that's facts.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a show at 3 p.m. And for everyone asking, Saul should be back on the show tomorrow. So fingers crossed that happens. But until then, you can give the show a follow on social at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Just please don't sucker punch me, Lindsay. Ahoy, hoy!
We all silly like the mayor.